What's wrong? You're not worried about Betty, are you? Betty's way out of the picture. She's long gone. Never gonna see her again. Nope. So, Bruce, are we like a thing or something? I don't know, babe. Do you want to be like a thing or something? Well, I just don't think that we should be denying our feelings for each other. All right, well, why don't you kiss me and see how I really feel about you? This isn't a trick of some sort, is it? I just want to express the honey love that I have for you, baby. Well, okay, but I just don't know if it's right or if it's wrong.
Open your eyes, baby.
Huh? Hello everyone, and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Infinite Series, the Avengers Age of Ultron, Amazon exclusive 6-inch figure pack featuring Thor, Black Widow, Bruce Banner, and Marvel's Hawkeye. Alright you guys, so this is an Amazon.com exclusive. It retails at $79.99. Now I was really lucky. I actually got mine very recently when Amazon was running one of their deal of the days, and I was able to get it for half that. They had it for $49.99, which is an absolute steal. And I don't know that I would have paid $80 for it, at least not right now, but at $50 it was basically a no-brainer. I had to go ahead and get it, and the packaging is very nice, very much in line with the single-carded Marvel Legends figures. And then here in the back, it gives us a glimpse at each of the action figures with some information on each character. We have a look at the Thor figure with some information there. If you'd like to pause and read any of these, feel free to do so. Look there at Black Widow. Bruce Banner, which is the very first time that this character has ever been offered as a 6-inch figure from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then finally, Hawkeye. The side of the box gives us an image of the 4 characters in action. Alright you guys, now we have the 4 Avengers out of the box, so let's go ahead and review them left to right, starting off with Thor. Alright you guys, so this Thor figure is one of 2 all-new figures in this set. This is a brand new Thor, which is very, very nice because the last one they gave us was back for the first Avengers film back in 2012, and that was mostly a repaint of a previously released 6-inch Thor from the very first Thor movie. I think that this one looks really good, though I will note that the cape is pretty heavy, so you do kind of have to pose the figure leaning forward in order to offset the extra weight at the back. The cape itself does look quite good, and Thor does come with one accessory. Give you a close-up here of the head. I think that Hasbro did a really nice job replicating Chris Hemsworth's look, and it just looks a lot like him, and definitely a huge improvement over the previous Thor, and I'll do a comparison in just a little bit. But it's painted very nicely, it's sculpted very well, and very nice shade that they used for the skin tone, and the hair also looks very nice. Different use of colors there, just to kind of give out the bring out the detail. Probably some of the nicest hair that Hasbro has done on any of their 6-inch figures. The rest of the armor also looks really good. It's got kind of like a little bit of a metallic look. You can see that the black armor has a little bit of a sheen to it. And then the silver bits, I guess they're supposed to kind of look like aluminum perhaps, or steel. And, they look pretty good. They gave them a little bit of detail on there in order to make them look a little bit weathered. And then this more of a champagne colored metal, very nice. Arms, of course, he's very buff, perhaps a little too buff because you can see a little too much detail there, I think. But nonetheless, the costume looks really good. The legs look very nice boots, great armored look to Thor. Underneath the cape, you can see that it's mostly black here on the back, and then, some detail there on the back of the legs. The cape itself is plastic. It's pretty rigid. It's a very bright red, perhaps a little bit too bright, maybe. And you can see that it does have some texture underneath it. And overall it's pretty nice, but it is very heavy for this figure, so it does kind of cause him to want to fall backward. Luckily you can kind of lean him on the cape, if you wanted to do that, but I don't really like that. I prefer the figure to stand on their own, so I do kind of feel like a nice soft goods cape would have worked very well with this particular application, but nonetheless, it was not meant to be, and it's not a bad cape, it's just a little bit heavy. That's really my only problem with it. In the way of articulation, Thor has a ball joint here at the head, but it is very stiff, and the reasoning for that is that the hair is just hitting on these metal bits of the costume, so you're not going to get a whole lot of movement there. He has ball joints at both of the shoulders, and you do get some really good movement there. You get swivels at both of the biceps, double bends at both of the elbows, and then bends and swivels at both of the wrists, and they both go up and down. He's got a really nice ball joint here at the torso, and you get a really good amount of movement. I'm really happy with that. He's got ball joints at both of the hips. You can swivel him at the thighs. He's got double bends at both of the knees, and then rocker swivels at both of the ankles. So very nicely articulated Thor figure. In the way of accessories, of course, Thor has to come with his hammer, so we got his hammer here. And it is a repaint of the weapon as it was previously released, and I think for the most part it looks quite decent. This is the one that came with the previous 6-inch Thor, and just got a little bit more detail, I think, on it, but I think this one looks pretty nice as well. And then I'll give you a comparison here of the new Thor figure along with the previously released Thor based off of the first Avengers film. I gotta say that Hasbro really improved with the new Thor figure. I was never a fan of this release. I just thought it was very complicated looking with the huge cape, the arms that are very, very stiff. I was never able to get the joint there for the right arm to move at the shoulder because it seems like it is super glued tight. And he's also very hard to stand, partly because the cape is just so heavy, but more than that because the stance is just really weird. So in that regard, I'm really happy with the new Thor based off of Age of Ultron. I just think it looks a lot more like Chris Hemsworth. It's a more sturdy figure overall, and the articulation is a lot nicer. If you'd like to see a review of this older 6-inch Thor figure from the first Avengers film, then I will provide a link down at the bottom. Alright, now on to Black Widow, aka Natasha Romanoff. This Black Widow is a repaint of the action figure that was released as part of the Captain America the Winter Soldier 6-inch figures from Marvel Legends, and other than that, that's really the only thing that's different is the paint. Now, like her predecessor, she does suffer from being very difficult to stand due to the way that the shoes are just very small, not a whole lot of surface area, and they are kind of wedged heels, so it makes it a little more difficult. She's still a very nice sculpt though, and she does come with 2 accessories. Give you a close-up here of her head. And I think it looks really good. The skin tone is a very nice color. The paint detail is very nicely applied. The makeup that they did on her is very nice. Her eyes are very clean. Eyebrows and lips are very clean. Very pretty looking figure. And her hair is a very vibrant sort of red. And just like Thor, they gave it, sort of a multi-dimensional coloration just to bring out more detail and give it more dimension. And I think it looks really, really good. Costume is very nice, waxy sort of black kind of look, and then she's got blue stripes, which are new to her costume from Age of Ultron, and they're a little bit vibrant, but I still think that it looks very nice on this particular figure. You see some more blue at her elbows, and I've always really liked this figure, and seeing it with the new coloration, I think is just really cool. Of course, she's got a zipper, very nice detail there. And very nice detail here on her wrists as well. Unfortunately, like before, she has these fake guns that you cannot remove. It's just some detail that they added there, to the figure. But it would be really nice if she had actual guns that you could give her. But nonetheless, that once again was not meant to be. I really wish they would have done that for this release. Widow has a ball joint here at the head. Got a pretty good range of movement. She's got ball joints at both of the shoulders, very good movement there. You got ball hinges at both of the elbows, swivels at both of the wrists, a ball joint here at her upper torso, though it is pretty stiff. Ball joints at both of the hips, swivels at both of the thighs, double bends at both of the knees, and then rocker swivels at both of the ankles. So overall, she is really nicely articulated. Now, she does come with 2 batons, and I think they're supposed to kind of look like maybe they have like electricity, or I don't know, maybe they're just supposed to be blue, but unfortunately they are warped due to how they are packaged in the box, so they have like a curvature to them. It's kind of a bummer. Unfortunately, there's nowhere to stow her batons in her outfit. I mean, I guess you could do that and they kind of stay in place, but there is no dedicated slot for them to fit in anywhere on the figure. One issue that does exist with the figure is that her baton doesn't really fit into her left hand because it is just in a very open position. They didn't retool the hand for this release, so It does kind of sit in there very loosely. Now I'll give you a comparison here of both Black Widow figures. On the left we have Age of Ultron, on the right we have the Winter Soldier. Again, a same exact figure, just with a new paint scheme and new accessories in the Age of Ultron's case. Both very solid looking figures. I do think that I am liking the outfit more on the new one. I think that the blue streaks just look really cool. But as far as the heads go, and I'll give you a close up here, I think that the original one just looked more like Scarlett Johansson for whatever reason. I think that the eyes perhaps just look a little bit more realistic. And just the way they painted it just kind of gives it a more realistic look. This one looks a little more comic booky, in my opinion. But both very solid figures. And, if you already have this one, then, you don't really need to have this one too. But if you don't, then this 4-pack's a good way to get, this one. And I think if you have that one, you don't really need both of them. And she's a little bit on the dark side as far as her skin tone goes, but she still looks really, really good. Again, if you do want to see a review of the older Black Widow from the Winter Soldier, I did one of those last year. I will throw a link down in the description. And moving right along to Dr. Bruce Banner. Now, unfortunately, this figure is extremely difficult to stand. And the reasoning for that is just look at his right leg. It's slanted at, a very unnatural angle, and it's just very hard to get him to stand. I think they did a really nice job with the likeness of this figure. The outfit is very simple, but it does look quite good. This is the only figure in the pack that does not come with any accessories. Give you a close-up here of the face. As you can see, they did a really nice job making this look like Mark Ruffalo. I think it looks a lot like him. If anything, maybe the eyes are a little bit too big, like the brown inside the eyes. But it really does look a lot like the guys, so, very nice job in that regard. The paint, for the most part, is very clean, though there is like a little tiny spot right there. Nothing too crazy. The hair is pretty nicely sculpted, and for the most part, very nice likeness, very nice skin tone. A little bit dark, but that looks accurate. The rest of the costume is really good. He's got a purple shirt underneath, and then he's got what looks to be like a dark gray sort of blazer, and same color for the pants. He's got a belt, and this doesn't seem to come off. I suppose you might be able to get it off if you really wanted to, but I don't think I would advise that. And then, of course, the shoes are, pretty nice. But, again, because of the way that his leg kind of slants out like that, extremely difficult to stand. In the way of articulation, Bruce Banner has a ball joint here at the head, and then he also has a swivel, you can kind of see, to make his neck move, or his head move down, but you can't really get it to do that. He's got ball joints at both of the shoulders, though they are a little bit hindered by the top part here of the jacket. He's got swivels at both of the biceps, double bends at both of the elbows, bend and swivels at both of the wrists. He's got a ab crunch here at the torso. He's got a swivel there at the waist, ball hinging at both of the hips, swivels at both of the thighs, double bends at both of the knees, and it looks like he should have rocker swivels at both of the ankles, but they're just acting like regular bends here on my particular figure. I'm not sure if it's just effective or what the case may be. It bends very nicely, but it doesn't seem to be swiveling the way that rocker swivels usually do for whatever reason. So I'm not sure what the case may be with this figure. If these rocker swivels function more like they were supposed to, then I'm quite confident that he would be easier to stand than he currently is. And now a look at Bruce Banner along with his alter ego, the Hulk. Very cool to have a Bruce Banner version of the character to go along with the Hulk. They look pretty cool together. It's nice to see him before and after the transformation. And again, if you want to see a review of the Age of Ultron Hulk, I will throw one down in the description. And then we have Marvel's Hawkeye. This is a completely repainted figure of the 2012 The Avengers 6-inch Hawkeye. Difference here being that we have a new head. Before, the head came with sunglasses, and this one is just, regular head, no sunglasses or anything, and I'll compare them just a bit. As with before, it's a very nice figure. I think Hasbro did a really good job with the sculpting and the likeness to the character. Articulation is quite good. He comes with a couple of accessories, but like with the Bruce Banner figure, there is a warped leg, which is very disappointing. Give you a close-up here of the head. And Hasbro just really did a great job capturing the look of actor Jeremy Renner. And that's not something Hasbro always gets correctly when it comes to human figures.
I think this is probably one of the best human figures that Hasbro has ever done in terms of nailing a likeness. They just did a heck of a good job right here. Just really looks like Jeremy Renner, and very, very nice that they were able to make it look so accurate. For the most part, the paint is very nice and clean. The eyes are very nice shade of blue, very piercing. Unfortunately, he does have like a bit of a splotch right there on his cheek, which is kind of a bummer. But all in all, for the most part, it's pretty good. The hair looks a lot like the way the character had it in the film, which I think is very fun, and just all around very nicely done. For the rest of the body, it's the same as before. Same exact sculpt work, nothing different here except for the coloration. And I think all in all, it's just a very solid looking figure, very armored look to it. Has a bit of a gloss black mixed in with more of a matte black, which is pretty nice detail. And then a very nice maroon here for the midsection. And all in all, just very nice armored look to this figure's costume. I really like when they use black through and through for this character, but they mix it up by giving it a matte look and then shiny look. That's just really good attention to detail, and I'm glad that they did that. You can see that he has his gloves on the left hand, and then he has this other thing for for using the bow and arrow on his right hand. In the way of articulation, Hawkeye has a ball joint here at the head, and it gets an okay amount of movement. He has ball joints at both of the shoulders, and you get good movement there. Swivels at both of the biceps. Double bends at both of the elbows. You get bends and swivels at both of the wrists. This one goes in and outward, and the other one goes up and down. You get a ball joint here at the upper torso, which, pretty good amount of movement there. You have ball joints at both of the hips, and he does a really good split. He's got swivels at both of the upper thighs, double bends at the knees, and then rocker swivels at both of the ankles. So very nicely articulated figure. For accessories, Hawkeye comes with a bow, and it's the same one that came with the previously released version, which I'll show you right here. Same exact bow, nothing different about it as far as I can tell. And then he also comes with his pack that comes with arrows, and it's very similar to the one that came out before. But the difference here is that the one that came before didn't have the arrows, and this one does. So I think it might be the same thing, maybe just a retool. But very cool that they actually gave this one the arrows, because that was really lacking from the original release. And as was the case before, you simply plug it into his back through that hole. And it doesn't go in very far, and there's a reasoning for that. And I'm going to go ahead and turn to the original release. And this one also had the same sort of setup, but you can see he has like an extra bandolier type thing, and the peg is the same length as with the new one. And that one just goes into his back right there, and there is a hole underneath it that you can see there. And once you get it lined up, you push it in, and there's no gap there. But because this new figure doesn't have the bandolier, unfortunately, there's not really a buffer there between the two. So, you do have a little bit of a gap. Now, Hasbro could have shortened the peg right here in order to get it to fit, but, they did not. I suppose if you wanted to trim it yourself, you could do that. And I'll give you a side-by-side comparison of the two releases. On the left, we have the Age of Ultron version, and on the right, we have the version from the first Avengers film. They both really do look great. I think that I like the Age of Ultron one a little bit better, for the reasoning being that he's got the arrows in his backpack, and he's got his head without the sunglasses, though it really looks cool with the sunglasses too, as is the case with the original figure. They're not that different though, and if you already have the original, you don't really need to get the new one as well. But if you don't, I think that the new one is a little bit better, even though it has the warped left leg. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Hasbro Marvel Legends Infinite Series, the Avengers Age of Ultron 6-inch action figure 4-pack featuring Thor, Black Widow, Bruce Banner, and Marvel's Hawkeye. Overall, I gotta say, it's a pretty solid set. At $80, it does feel a little bit steep, but it's about right, compared to what you would pay if these were released individually. The figures themselves are really good. I think that the best figure in this set, for me personally, is Thor, only because he is an all-new figure and an update that we really needed. The older 6-inch Thor figures are very inferior compared to this one, and for that, I'm really happy that he is in the pack. Black Widow doesn't really offer a whole lot that's new other than a new paint scheme and her batons. though she does have issues standing like the old figure did, and she is incapable of holding the left baton for any amount of time due to her hand just being too loose. She's still painted very nicely, though not quite as realistic as the previous Black Widow figure. Bruce Banner is a nice figure. He's very simple, doesn't bring a whole lot new to the table, but he is a new figure to the Marvel Legends line, and I do appreciate him in that respect, though his right leg is severely warped due to the way that he is positioned in the packaging. Hawkeye is also a simple repaint with a new head and a new backpack with his arrows. As such, he doesn't bring a whole lot new to the table either, but I do think that he looks better than his previously released figure. All in all, it's a pretty solid set. I'm very happy that I was able to get mine for $50 off Amazon. Keep in mind that this is an Amazon exclusive and it is not being sold in stores. So if you want to pick one up, keep an eye on Amazon, see if they drop the price once again. On a scale of 1 to 5 stars, I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 stars. It's a nice selection of figures that haven't been out on the market for quite some time in 6-inch figure form. So in that regard, I think it's a really nice gift set. It'd make a great Christmas gift or birthday gift to somebody that likes the Marvel 6-inch figures. It's also a nice way to get 4 of the main characters from the Avengers films if you do not have them already. It's a very nicely done set, but it is not perfect and certainly could be better, especially when it comes to the warping issues that a couple of these figures have. Alright my friends, if you enjoyed this video, then I do encourage you to please like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what you think about these figures and whether or not you're planning on picking them up. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and as always, I want to thank you for watching Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, bye-bye.